Today we are going to learn about adding decimals. First, I want to talk to you guys about these boxes that I've drawn here and what they represent. So these boxes are representing parts of a whole. The entire box is going to be one whole, and each bar within a box is going to be 1/10, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rows. So each row is a 10th, and each one of these itty bitty boxes is going to be 1/100th, because we have 100 squares in this box. So now let's look at what I've drawn in these two pictures specifically. So right here I have 1, 2, 3 rows filled in. So that's going to mean I have a 3 in the 10ths place. And then on the next row I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes filled in. So that means that I have a 6 in the 100th place. And in this picture I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows filled in. So I'm going to have a 4 in my 100th place. And on this line I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 squares filled in. And each square is a 100th, so I have 8 hundredths. That means that I have 0.48 of this whole box filled in. And you can see that that is just under half, which makes sense because the decimal 0.48 is just under 0.5, which is half. So now we're going to talk about what happens when we add these two fractions together. So first of all, let's go ahead and draw a picture of this. So I'm thinking that the first thing that I would do is I would notice that I've got 3 complete rows filled in on the first drawing. So I'll have to have those completely filled in my new drawing. And over here, I have 4 rows completely filled in. So I'm going to want to have 4 rows completely filled in my new drawing. 1, 2, 3, 4. But I also have these little boxes that I haven't really done anything with yet. So on the orange picture, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh yeah, we already counted that. We've got 6 little boxes. So I'm going to fill in 6 little boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And over here I've got 8 little boxes. So I'll fill in 8 little boxes on my total where I've added them together. 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like I now have this row all the way full. So I'm going to have to continue up on this row. So now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so now I've gone ahead and drawn a picture of what these two look like added together. So I just went ahead and took all of these rows and I drew them right next to all of these rows. And then I filled in the extra boxes for the 100ths place. So now we can go ahead and count up how many rows and how many extra little boxes are filled in this box. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows completely filled in. And I also have 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes filled in. So we can see that when we add together 0.36 and 0.48, we get a total of 0.84. Okay, so now I have shown you how to draw a picture of adding decimals. Next, I'm going to show you how to write it the way we normally do in math. So here I'm just going to make sure that we all know we're writing it. So we're going to set this problem up somewhat similar to how we set up our problems when we were adding whole numbers. But we want to make sure that we also have our decimal points lined up. That will make sure that we're adding the correct place values to each other. So I'm going to have 0.36, and then I'm going to make sure that right underneath this decimal point, I'm putting the decimal point for my other number. So we'll have 0.48. So now, when we add these two together, we want to add from right to left, just like we did when we were adding whole numbers. So we're going to go 6 plus 8 is 14. So 14 is going to give me 4, and since these are 14 hundredths, we know that we have 10 hundredths, which is the same as 1/10. So I can carry 1/10 into the next column. So now I'm going to add my tens column, and I've got 1 plus 3 is 4, and then I take that 4 and I add on another 4. So now I've got a total of 8. Then the last thing that we need to do is bring down this decimal point. And we'll put a plus sign here so that we remember that we're adding. So you can see that we got the same answer by writing it out as we did by drawing the picture. That's a good double check so that we know that our picture is accurate and our math is accurate, because we're getting the same thing both ways. So now I'm just going to go ahead and write down our steps for adding decimals so that we can make a note of this and remember it when we do other problems. So here we have steps for adding decimals. Okay, so number 1, like we saw in the last problem, is we want to line up the decimal points. So we're making sure that our decimals are right on top of each other. And number 2, we want to fill in extra zeros. So we'll see in later problems a little bit more how to do that. But just so that you know, if this problem were to have had just a 0.4 on the bottom, we would still want something to be lining up with our hundredths place right here. So we would have filled in a 0 so that we knew we were adding 6 plus 0. But that's a slightly different problem than what we did before. Then our step number 3 will be add from right to left, just like we did when we were working with whole numbers. And it's important, just like when we were working with whole numbers, to know when to carry. And then our last step is going to be bring down the decimal point. So just like we saw in this example up here, after we had added our numbers together, we went ahead and added a decimal point to our final answer that was right underneath our decimal points in the question. Okay, so now we're going to do another example. So for this example, we're going to be adding $5.50 to $6.75. So our step number 1, remember, is we need to line up the decimal points. So I'm going to go ahead and just write these numbers right on top of each other. So I've got 5.50, and I'll put another decimal point right underneath it. So then I know that I've got to have the ones to the left of my decimal point, so that'll be 6. And I need my tenths and hundredths to the right of the decimal point, so that'll be 75. And we'll put a $sign in front, since we know that this is money. Okay, so now we have this set up so that we can add them together vertically. And here we don't need to add any extra zeros, because we already have a 0 and a hundredths place, so that these two line up quite nicely. Now we're going to add from right to left. So we'll start out with 0 plus 5 equals 5, and 5 plus 7 equals 12. So for 12, I have 2 tenths, and I also have 10 tenths. So 10 tenths is a whole, or 1, so I can carry that over into my ones place. And then I have 1 plus 5 is 6, and 6 plus 6 is 12. So my total here is going to be $12.25. So now we have a practice problem. Please pause the video to try this problem on your own. Okay, so now that you have tried this problem, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do it, just to make sure that you are following the right steps. So first, I'm going to write the first number, 1275. I'm going to write the next decimal point right underneath it, so I know my decimal points are lined up. So down here I'm going to have 1375. Another $sign, since I know this is money, and I'm going to add them together. So now, I'm going to start from the right and work my way to the left. 5 plus 5 is 10, so I put a 0 right here, and 10 hundredths is the same as 1 tenth, so I'll carry a tenth. So now I've got 1 plus 7 is 8, 8 plus 7 is 15. So now I've got a 5, carry the 1, and I've got 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, and 1 plus 1 is 2, and then I've got my $sign over here. And then our last step, step number 4, is going to be bringing down the decimal point. So there we go. Our final answer for this one is $26.50. So now we're going to do a new example, and this example is going to help us practice with filling in extra zeros. So we'll start out with writing down the first number, and this is 1.623, and then for the second number, I'm going to go ahead and start with writing my decimal point to make sure that these two are lined up right on top of each other. And then to the left, I'll have 73, and to the right, I'll have 6 tenths. Now you can see that there's a space underneath my hundredths place and thousandths place right here. So to make sure that I have numbers to add in each of these columns, I'm just going to fill in a 0. 0, 0. Okay. So now I can go ahead and add these numbers together. So 3 plus 0 is 3, 2 plus 0 is 2, 6 plus 6 is 12, so I'll write a 2, carry the 1, and then 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 3 is 5, and 7 plus a 0 right up here is going to be 7. So now I want to go ahead and bring down my decimal point. So the final answer for this problem is going to be 75 and 223 thousandths. Okay, so here we now come to problem number 2, which is another practice problem for you. So please pause the video and try this problem on your own. Okay, so I'll go ahead and write the first number for this problem. It's going to be 17.2. And next we want to write down the second number. The second number needs to have a decimal point that lines up right underneath our last decimal point. Then we're going to fill in our numbers. To the left we need an 8, and to the right we need 837. Next we need to fill in our zeros, and I'm seeing that there is a 0 missing on the top in the hundredths place and on the top in the thousandths place. So now I am ready to add these two numbers together. Okay, 0 plus 7 is 7, 0 plus 3 is 3, 2 plus 8 is 10, carry the 1. 1 plus 7 is 8, 8 plus 8 is 16. Okay, and 1 plus 2 is 2. So our final answer for this problem is 26 and 37 thousandths. Okay. So this next example is going to help us get a lot of practice with carrying. So this one starts out with 9.9999 plus 0.0015. Okay, so you can see I've lined up my decimal points, and I'm now ready to add from right to left. So 9 plus 5 is 14, carry the 1. 1 plus 9 is 10, 10 plus 1 is 11, so I'll put a 1 down here, carry the 1. Now 1 plus 9 is 10, so I'll put a 0, carry the 1. 1 plus 9 is 10, put a 0, carry the 1. And again, 1 plus 9 is 10, so I'll put a 0, and then I'll carry the 1 over here into the tenths place, but there's not really anything else to add, so I'll just have 10 right here. And then our last step is going to be filling in the decimal point right underneath where the decimal point was in our problem. So the final answer for this one is 10 and 14 10,000ths. So again, I'm going to give you a problem, and I want you to pause the video and try this problem on your own. Okay, so to start this problem, I'm going to write 99.9997. Then I'm going to make sure that I've got my decimal point lined up with a number underneath. And to the right of that decimal point, I need 0023. So now I should be ready to add from right to left. So here we have 7 plus 3 is 10, carry the 1. 1 plus 9 is 10, plus 2 is 12, carry the 1. 1 plus 9 is 10, carry the 1. 1 plus 9 is 10, carry the 1. And 1 plus 9 is 10 again, carry the 1. And 1 plus 9 is another 10. So I'll put a 0 in the tenths place, and that'll carry over to be a 1 in the hundreds place. So now we are ready to bring down this decimal point, and it will land right here underneath our other decimal points. So our final answer for this problem is 120 10,000ths. So I do believe that we have now gotten some practice with adding together decimal points, and I think I want to just go ahead and sum up by reviewing our steps for adding decimals. Step number 1, line up the decimal points. Step number 2, fill in any extra zeros. Step number 3, add from right to left. This is going to make it really important that we know when to carry. And finally, bring down the decimal point. So this is the end of today's official lesson, but if you feel like you would like some more practice with adding decimals, please go ahead and keep watching this video. I'm just going to give you some problems that you can practice on your own, so pause and try each one, and then I will come back and show you how to write them. Not going to say anything out loud, but I will show you all the steps in the correct solution.